How's it going, folks? Welcome into Overtalk. We are on episode 17. Should be 18, but we did have to take a week off last week because I did have a baby, so we had to take a week off. I do apologize for that in advance. But yeah, I do want to apologize for missing the week, the time that we missed. But we're back.
You don't have to apologize for having a baby.
Please.
No, I do want to apologize, but we do want to get into the show today. As always, I am Chris Kid Liquid Okamura. Today we have Caleb Finn, Alex Invagination Orlando, Teresa Gaffney, Rachel Seltzer Querco, and we do have a guest today. We have Mr. Mark Bernsner. Mark, how's it going, man? What's up?
It's going super well. How's it going for you, man? Good job on the babying.
Thank you. It's going well. So, Mark, people kind of know us, but what do you do? What is your thing? What is Mark Bernsner?
So by day I review phones. I work at Android Police. So I make videos. I shoot them. I say stuff. I use phones for a long time, and then I tell people what I think about them. So I realize it's kind of hard to wrap your head around, but yeah, it's a living.
It's a living.
Sounds like a pretty awesome
it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like to be that guy being like, hey, check out how great this newest phone always is. But no, it's pretty great. I love my job.
That's fantastic.
But by night, I stream on Twitch and I play a lot of Overwatch. Rachel and I go way back. I suppose I'm an internet man about town.
Okay.
Jack of all trades, very nice.
Yeah. I'm like
welcome to the show.
Yeah,
You're a junk rat.
Welcome in, guys. So, this week's topic was supposed to be the monthly meta that we do. We're moving up to next week. So we're going to cover last week's topic, which is kind of Overwatch media. So we just had the recall, cinematic, things like that. But before we get into that, we had a very serious kind of issue that came up with the game this week. Alex, I know you're very passionate. Do you want to go ahead and introduce the topic and what we're going to touch on for a little bit in the beginning here?
Well, I wish I didn't have to be as passionate as I am, as I need to be sometimes about these kind of things. But basically, there's a Tracer victory pose. So this is a pose that you can customize when you win a game, and the screen with all your team members are on there, and you can change the poses, and it's a little customizable. And one of the Tracer poses was removed by Blizzard, and people are a little upset about that.
Now?
Yes, it has.
Is it patched out?
Okay.
Yeah.
It's no longer.
And it is one pose in particular that you could look it up online. The image is everywhere, but it's basically Tracer with her back facing the camera, her butt prominently displayed, and she's kind of like looking over a little bit like that. So, and that was based on feedback in the suggestion form for the Overwatch. And people are very upset. And that is the story. And it is blown up. Incredibly.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, it has.
It is quite blown up.
It hit
So I have
national
opinions
media.
about it, but I don't know that I'm the best person to speak on the subject, considering I'm a dude. So
Well, go ahead. You go first. Might as well get there.
Guess go first.
yeah, I suppose guest priority. So my wife and I have been talking about this a lot. I consider myself a feminist. I see both sides of the argument. On one hand, my initial reaction was good on Blizzard, listening to the community. Some people said it was troublesome for them for whatever reason. The best argument I saw was, I think, one of those threads on the forum that was the focus of which was, this isn't in character for Tracer, and I don't disagree with that at all. Tracer is kind of the face of the game right now. She is a very powerful woman, a spunky woman, and a pose like that doesn't really fit in her arsenal of personality stuff. I can see the argument for, like, if you want to feel sexy, man, you do you, or whoa, man. But if some people start to feel uncomfortable, if it makes for a feel bad of the community, then I don't think it's worth keeping something as small as a victory pose if it means that there's even a small percentage of people who it makes feel uncomfortable. So I am pro.
They found this personally offensive. Like, I'm kind of putting out there to the audience, like, Were you offended by this pose? Think about it. What kind of visceral reaction did you get out of seeing one of like 75 poses? I'm going to play devil's advocate. I am obviously a woman, so I know what the female form looks like very intimately. Woo! So there is no debating that perspective. No one wants to be made out to be an object, but Tracer is an object that we are in discussion of. So did you feel...
offline? Sorry, one sec.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
it
it's
go off?
frozen or...
Shoot!
I think it might have. I think it fixed itself. Everything froze on my end for a half a second, and then it went back. It's not back.
Is it on?
I think it is. Keep going, Teresa. It's fine.
It says
No,
offline.
it's okay.
Sorry.
No, I'm putting... Okay, Tracer is an object, and we're looking at her as such, and as women who are intimately aware of how actual sexualization happens in the real world, we project this onto this object, and that's fine, and I such a kind of like demeaning sense. So I wanted to get that out of the way. But I don't actually think there were too many people offended by this pose, so I find the reaction that was so immediate from Blizzard's side to removing the skin to be a little bit curious. I think they just didn't want to create a wildfire. And actually, what's funny is removal of the skin created the wildfire, not the actual discussion. I don't think the pose was terrible by any means for a game that's rated teen plus. And I think that the person who actually started it on the forums was trying to market this game to a person much younger than the teen label. So we put it out there. How many of you watching the stream are actually offended by this? And how do you feel? I would love to see in the chat, like, where you're coming from. Because I actually don't think it was important to remove that skin, and I think it should have stayed. I don't think it was that bad. And I think it comes from a perspective of parenting gone wrong. I'm, sorry.
Well, I think like they didn't
Don't
take
apologize for your opinion. Don't say
Yeah,
sorry.
no, that's totally fine. What I think is interesting is
I
that
shouldn't apologize, but it's,
no,
I know
don't
that's not the
apologize.
majority opinion.
feel your feels.
It's not.
I will say though, they didn't take out all the butt poses. Like they left it for like Widowmaker has definitely some
Exactly.
beauty poses.
Yeah.
And so like I don't think
does
it's so much
Hanzo.
a censoring of the game because all this stuff is still available in there. I think it's more of it was just a good argument of like, hey, listen, you did such a great job. You put all these characters in the game, but why does everyone have to be sexy? Like, it's kind of like we have our sexy characters, so kind of like leave Tracer alone. She's fun. She's a kid.
Right.
And, it didn't seem to me that people were offended. It was just kind of another moment where I think a large group of people were kind of like, oh my God, like kind of rolled their eyes and were like, you had something going so good here. Why'd you put in the butt pose? And
Tracer's
so I don't know
like
if anyone was
26
like,
years old.
my
back then.
pearls, but I certainly think some people were like, come on, Blizzard. And like, I actually really love Jeff Kaplan's response, which was, it's a small little thing. We didn't feel it ourselves. And like, this is I always think of like Team Fortress 2. Like if I sit there and I go, man, I wish I could put unicorns in this game, people would be like, fuck yeah. But if I'm like, man, I wish there were female skins, they're like, you feminist bitch. So
No.
like,
And look at what just happened in I'm not for a witch hunt on anybody. Take out the skin. I don't really care. In the end, I'll still play a great game. But I think a 26-year-old female Tracer with her nice derriere doesn't offend me or anybody who's actually playing the game. I think it's just a chance for people to get really vocal about something that is like being projected from themselves in a real world scenario. And this is the actual issue because Overwatch is a real life game compared to some of Blizzard's other other games, which are like fantasy.
Right.
This is like this is where the actual issue is, and I don't think that's been talked about enough. The fact that this is a real world game, this is reflecting some real world issues, and that's why this is coming out to a big point. And I think Alex can talk about this a little more. This isn't her discipline, so perhaps like I don't have the language to like express this, but I think it's kind of like not a good application. It's like I don't want to project these problems of the real world on like this game. I don't think it's like they've done such a good job at designing it to avoid some of these problems that I think that they're kind of like overreaching with that one skin.
So I'm really glad that you brought up Allison Rapp because I was going to. And I've been thinking a lot about this because it's also kind of my job, but also because this is the kind of stuff that I just think about all the time because it's just everywhere. And, people people don't have to care about this stuff, but if you like, the real issue I think is that because my question is who is being outraged, who exactly is. And I believe, reading the threads and reading comments, the people who are outraged are the people who want to keep the butt in. It's not the people who want the butt out, because the post is very, civil. It's in a suggestion form where
Right.
you are suggesting things, and he's, stating his perspective with his child or her. I'm not sure. And then it's just everyone that's immediately blowing things up, and they're just like, oh, is Tumblr here? Or like, and I'll never understand that one or things like that. And then the news articles start popping up, the Facebook
The feeding frenzy,
news thing.
yeah.
And it's just like, and it ramps people up, right? You have like, I read one that was like Tracer pose removed due to ethical reasons, and it's just like,
Right.
what does that even mean? And it's so baity to get like those particular groups that are really invested in these like anti-censorship stuff in games all riled up, right? Like they want people to click on it, they want people to leave comments, shitty or not.
Right.
They want people reading those articles. And so in a way, I blame games media for hyping these things up, because in the reality, this shouldn't be a problem. Blizzard's making a game. It's in beta. Things change. Artwork has changed for other things. This was an artwork decision that they decided to go with for, changing. And people should just be like, that's a thing that happened. They changed it,
Right.
and move on with their lives, because it doesn't matter, because it's a butt. And like, that's the reality. But the people who are exploding are the people that for some reason need to keep the butt in there. And I'm
They
just
feel
kind
like
of
they're
thinking,
getting something taken away from them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off,
no,
but I feel
it's
like
so true.
it's almost like they feel like there's something that they're losing by losing the butt. And I want to circle back really quick to something that you said, Teresa, about the responsibility of the parent when it comes to that particular pose or something. I think that's interesting, because I agree with you. But when it comes to, I want to use Magic as an example. I play a lot of Magic the Gathering, and Wizards has been, especially over the last like 4 or 5 years, really, really careful and inclusive about their characters, especially their female characters. And if you go look at the Magic pantheon of Planeswalkers, they are the most badass women. And they do things like this all the time, where they get, there's some sort of a spark. And people get the fervor gets ignited, and people get upset, and then they make the change, or they don't make the change. Sometimes they don't, because sometimes it's not the right move. But I think where the line starts to get blurred is, yes, it's a parenting thing, but the same way Magic has to work with Jace, they're like the face of Magic, Tracer is very much the face of Overwatch. And despite the fact that the title is a teen title, there's a lot of Tracer and a lot of placement. I think that's what the parent in that post was going for, is my child is going to be exposed to Tracer whether or not I play this game religiously.
Yeah, you look at commercials on TV, and we can tie this kind of into the other media if you want to have like
Exactly.
a nice segue.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, perfect segue.
There are people that are going to watch these cutscenes. They're going to buy into the merchandise and maybe not even play the game.
They're gonna buy the merchandise, and they're gonna see Tracer's butt.
They're going to buy the merchandise.
Tracer's statue is one of those like.
And they're gonna do just like with
she looks
anime
great.
figures. They're gonna turn the butt towards their face and just put it on their shelf like that. So you can't.
But you know
control
what? They can
people
do that. That's still in there.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. Look, it's such a minuscule thing to take out of the game that, quite frankly, not worth spending even like 15 or 20 minutes of my life worrying about. But like you said, it's the game's media, and that's what the game's media does, is talk about a topic that will get people views. But let me circle back to something that wasn't actually talked about. How long did it take from that forum post to the removal of the actual skin of the game? Sorry, the pose from the game. How long did
It's
it
like
take?
a day and a half, right?
No,
was
not
long
even.
enough. Not
It went
enough.
down that same day.
That's why it's like this.
Well, no, okay. Hold on, though, because when I was looking at the topic, it was at least 15 hours, 16 hours old when I was playing the game, and it was still up. Like I was playing the game, and it was the pose was still in the game. It wasn't until the next day that it was
the
removed.
Kaplan response
the
was really close.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Kaplan response was close, but not the actual removal from the game. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Teresa?
It's okay. It just wasn't enough digestible time for the conversation for the community to actually give this feedback. So the reason why you saw a lot of that coming in from the games media was not just from the removal of the object, in question. It could be anything. I don't care if it's Hanzo's back look. He's covered up by whatever, but that his could have been removed, and I don't care. But it was only 15 hours to 24 hours, like a quick decision. It felt very quick, and that is why the community is also like that. And I'm not saying like this is why you have a lot of these like really crazy reactions going on, because
why is that the worst thing though?
It's not the worst thing in the world. I'm telling you where my perspective of seeing why the reaction is the way it is. It's because it was so quick. I am fairly neutral on this topic in the end. Like for me, I'm not going to cancel my games purchase for this, but I'm seeing the reaction from the community coming from a certain misstep, and that's being pragmatic. I'm pretty pragmatic in general, so I think it should have been a longer decision making process or something. That part of it, and I also just don't think it's a big deal.
The perspective I'd like to take from this is that from twofold. One is the way that it was handled. Like kind of Teresa's getting at right now, like the way, the speed, the process. The second was it being in there at all. Okay, so we ran into something similar with an event that we did probably about 3-4 years back. Rachel was actually part of this event, and we invited a certain caster to be part of our event, and that caster had used some not so wonderful language with regard to certain ethnic groups in the past, and therefore that caster was rejected by our sponsors. And so that blew up into a huge controversy, became like internet news. It went all over. It became this just like crazy thing. And we were villainized for removing him from the casting team, even though our sponsor specifically told us. Our event had a podcast over it forever because this guy was very popular in his, in his following and in his community establishment. So the thing is, there were people who warned about adding him from the very beginning because of the possible controversy, right? People didn't want to add him to the team because they said, hey, this is going to open up a can of worms for us. But it still got added because of XYZ reasons. So then we had to really fast go along with the community, kind of make statements, do PR, do all this to save our event, to save the PR of the event. So the position I'd like to take with the Tracer thing is, one, why was the pose in there in the first place? Who decided it was a good idea to put the pose in there, and why did they decide it was a good idea to put the pose in there? I don't know.
Because other characters have that pose. So.
Because other characters have similar poses, but why do those characters have those poses? What is the intent? What is the purpose?
It's like a classic look.
Why do they have?
Right, it's not
a classic look. You see that in like war tattoos and
like I think
it works for Widowmaker, who literally like
but I think it all goes
down.
back to like the wording of it. The original post, if you really pay attention to it and you read it closely, and honestly, the first probably like page and a half of that original thread was pretty much about the pose and how it doesn't fit Tracer. It's not about the pose being offensive. The only, I think one of the first people, or even the first mention of the word offensive, was in the Kaplan post. Kaplan said we're removing it due to people being offended. Yeah. He actually wrote that.
So that's my next thing is...
So like that wasn't the original problem with the post.
The problem is the way that I believe that it was publicly handled. If this were to be properly handled, right, if they really felt that this was a problem, but they didn't want to make a blow up about it, they just remove the pose without telling anybody that they removed the pose in the next patch update. Nobody would know. They don't even respond to the forum post. Don't make anything.
I have to agree.
And
Don't
then you
even
know what?
touch
The
the
players are
subject.
going to notice anyway, and the players are going to post another thing and be like, "Hey, cool! They removed the post. They heard us, and they didn't have to
Exactly.
make a ruckus about it."
Yeah.
Exactly. So it could have just all been kind of like smoothed over by just not touching.
And this
the
has
subject.
happened many times in the Destiny community as well, not over sexualization issues, but just issues with gameplay where eventually, you know, despite feeling like we might not be being heard, a change gets made, and it's a gesture in good whatever the phrase is, in good faith, I guess.
Sure.
Right.
Wait, Mark, are you a Destiny player?
Listen. Oh yeah, I am.
Oh, we have to swap stories. But that's another podcast.
It sure is another podcast.
I mean, I'll admit that I think in just playing the game, I've thought that certain body parts are very overly dramatized on men and women. When you're running through the game and Genji's butt is right in your face, there's a big fat butt crack. What is the art direction behind that?
We both did the same thing.
Right?
boy.
Give us
I
something, for God's sake,
Kenji,
even
though.
if it's metal.
And even on the Tracer statue that was at BlizzCon, her butt was very well defined on that statue. It was like a
people
field
have
statue.
butts. You know, you can't
There's
not
nothing
have a
wrong with
butt.
it.
And there's nothing
was-
wrong with having a butt. You know,
That's the
plenty of
other
people
side
have
of the
very nice
feminist
butts.
debate,
Some
too.
people
That's
have
why I think this is
desexualized.
entirely about consistency of character, because the sexy stuff
Wait.
is still there. Widowmaker is still there. She uses her sexuality as a weapon, and that's in her backstory. And so, of course, having her with the booty out makes sense. But I totally get, like, there's a reason Pikachu is the head of the Pokemon franchise and not Jinx, okay? Like, you know, Jinx is okay. Jinx can be a Pokemon, but like if you're gonna run with your like E
Your
for
flagship.
everyone mascot, and that mascot is gonna be like, you know, adorable and cute. Not everybody needs a sexy pose. And so like I just think like what blew my mind is like that was just one small facet of feedback, but I think it just touched on this hot button like oppression, SJW,
Yep.
like all kinds of craziness that's going
Real
on right
life
now. Because
application.
of that, you had this big pushback who see the
Right.
removal of a butt pose as symptomatic of some bigger oppression. And really, like, and I'll just be reasonable, like, I think this was fine, and this is rarely worthy of discussion, but it's a tool in a lot of people's belts right now to have a bigger argument, and
Right.
I don't necessarily like agree with this particular argument fitting into that whole framework.
Yeah, it does.
Exactly.
But I can't wait for like other media, like comic books about Overwatch to come out because we know how comic book women are drawn. Whew. We're gonna see like all of these very debatable poses. So, but anyway,
I mean, even
regardless
in
of
that
it,
original-
it's not a big deal.
No.
I think it's not a big deal, and it was made into a big deal about something that in real life is actually an issue, but in this game wasn't. But hey, you know. It's done.
I mean, this is the other thing. Like, we don't get to say what's an issue
Whatever.
for some other people too.
Right.
So, like,
Other people might-
again, like, I'm totally cool
No,
with it, but this is like one of
this
those
is
things
not
where I'm
my
like,
point.
oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, you like, I was caught by surprise, and usually, like, I'm first at the front lines, like, misogyny.
That's what I'm saying. It's not, but that's if your major reaction to most things is logical, like in the sense that you follow the same, you know, frame of thought, and normally you would say that's wrong, and right now you're not. That's because your gut is going with the general feel of, well, maybe this decision was done in a weird way, and that's how I came off on it. It struck me as orchestrated in a weird way. So I think that I can't wait for the next thing to be a drama. I think the comic books are going to be the next drama. That's my personal opinion.
I mean,
I'll
I
just
think that
add
Blizzard
one.
has done
Can
a
I-
really good job of trying to avoid drama, aside from what you were mentioning, Caleb, about like how they handled it. And I don't think that was necessarily intentional either. I think that might have just been a slip up. But overall, I mean, my major takeaway is, yeah, maybe it was unnecessary. Yeah, I don't know why I was in there in the first place. Whatever. There's hundreds. Like, the process of making a video game takes so many hands and so many pairs of eyeballs and minds. And ultimately, I'm quite proud to support a game that gives that much of a shit about the audience. At the end of the day, they erred on the side of supporting their community. And whether it was right or wrong, they stuck with what the community wanted. And I think, I mean, ultimately, I'm proud to support that kind of an establishment.
And,
you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's fine that they listen to the community. It's great. Whether or not the majority of the community wanted it is actually the issue. And so
I just would like to add like one more thing, like, and I was kind of going to say the same thing, that it is overall I was really happy to see the announcement only because the approach and it is small and people might not think it's a big deal, but it is a very, very small step in the right direction for communicating with developers and listening to issues that matter to maybe not everybody, but to some people that normally do not have a voice in communicating these ideas at the top level in the studio.
Right.
And Kishona Gray is a great professor doing work with race and games, and she talks about how basically it needs to be a top-down approach because bottom-up has failed. We've seen the attempt to try to engage with the fans and the consumers of games, and it's just not happening. So to have game developers even listen to someone say, hey, you might want to think about this, or designing characters this way, is a huge step.
It really sets a marvelous precedent.
And it's just one small pose, but it's better than nothing.
And I'll tell you what, man, from that original poster, I think we can probably like move on from this now. I feel like we're starting to talk in circles a little bit, but like from that original post, I feel like safe having my future daughter play Overwatch. I feel safe having that be a franchise that is one that we are all involved in our home, and that they care so much that even a small minority of people who are upset about something is enough for them to do something about it. I think is great, because I think isn't that the idea of democracy is to protect the minority, not to, right? Isn't that the idea?
Is she old enough to play this game?
I mean, if it's forever or a teen, I mean, even at teen, 13? Like at 13, you're developing your body image. Like, of course, you're old enough to play the game, but like...
So is she old enough to play the game?
I mean, yeah, I think so.
So that depends on your perspective, and that's fine. And again, you know what? If they had just done this and not made a weird, statement about it probably would have gone off our radar. So, hey,
probably.
I think...
So can we talk about the real issue here about how McCree's belt says BAMF? And you know that F stands for fucker.
Yes, we all know what that means.
All right, guys. So we're gonna switch gears. I'm gonna spin you a yarn. I'm gonna tell you a story to transition us out of here. So on Sunday night, last week on the 20th, my daughter was born, 5 a.m. I was exhausted. By the time I had a chance to sleep, by the time I laid down in a bed, it was about 3 p.m., 3 to 4 p.m. on Monday. And I was exhausted. I was super tired. I looked at my phone to check to see what time it was and plug it in before I went to bed and knocked out. And I saw that the Recall cinematic was posted. So I watched that, and I was so hyped I couldn't sleep anymore. That
wow,
that cinematic was fantastic. Any feedback or thoughts on that, and what do we want to see more of?
Oh man, I cried. I think Rachel cried. Did anybody?
That's how I retweeted it. I was like, I was not expecting to cry this afternoon, and then you know what? And I laughed too. Not only did I cry, but I laughed.
Yeah,
totally. I mean, I'm hyped. I mean, the hype is real. The hype fire has been lit. My butt is ready. I'm like 100% on board. Like, again, some of the other franchises that I am involved in, Destiny and Magic, are probably the two really big other ones, and they've been having a ton of trouble getting the lore, the flavor across. And if Blizzard can bring their expertise from their other titles to Overwatch as they have been, I am stoked to keep learning about the Overwatch universe by way of these cinematics. It's brilliant. Like, Wizards has been written stories, basically like a blog to tell the background, but it's tough to follow. Destiny hasn't really fleshed out the universe because they had a writer leave before it came out, but Blizzard is Blizzard, and they know how to hype us.
I know. I want to play Hearthstone with Winston. Does anybody else want to play Hearthstone?
Yeah, I do want to play Hearthstone with Winston.
Who is he watching stream?
Yeah, I mean,
there's
so many great moments in that cinematic. The moment that I kept going back to every time was the moment where he just says "screw it" and pushes the button to call everyone in.
Yeah,
it's like it hit me so hard, and I was like, yes, this is exactly what I want from this game. Right afterwards, I went and looked for the pre-order for the for the PopCap figures to make sure that I had my Winston pre-ordered, and I was like, I need that. By the way, everyone should buy the PopCap vinyl or the Pop vinyl figure set, because that means they'll make more if they sell well.
True.
That's a good call.
Everyone,
that's a good call. I always need extra stuff for B-roll in my videos.
Yeah.
The more stuff I have, the better.
But one thing about Recall that made me think, I keep bringing this up, but that video made me want comic books, made me want to see more about these lives of the characters we're playing. So, like, I would love to see, like, a Junkrat comic book about his, like, insane, life that probably looks like something out of a Mad Max film.
I'm sure that's where they're going. I mean, like, when you look at Disney and Star Wars, that is about as fast as one can expect some sort of fiction to spin up, I think.
Sure.
They single-handedly, when Disney took over Star Wars, man, they single-handedly brought the comic universe back to life. It was on its dying breath, and they put out all of a sudden 3 giant lines of Star Wars books, and
then retcon the other ones.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I love that.
Spoilers for anyone that hasn't read the comics, but they're in the recent run of Star Wars comics, the one that Mark's talking about with the relaunch. I think it was issue 7. They did a comic about Obi-Wan while he lived on Tatooine. But the way they told the story was through Luke finding Obi-Wan's journal when he went back to Tatooine and kind of reading through that journal and having it play out kind of in his head through his narration. And like that style of storytelling would be great, especially for something we're getting. I think the first graphic novel that we're getting is the kind of the history of Overwatch, or like the history of that original team that had
basically the Incredibles.
Yeah,
the graphic
yeah.
novel.
Yeah, so we had that original team. Like, I would love it if that wasn't a direct story, but like sort of like a young Overwatch agent, or even Tracer, like finding a journal or like a video log of what that is, and then kind of like watching through it and reacting. Like, that would be fantastic.
Well, I think you're right. I think this is a broader conversation. It's not really just about Overwatch, is it? It's about how we ingest the story, the lore of any game in particular. Sure. That's why the media thing, I think, is so cool, right? Like, there's a lot more to the franchises that we get involved in these days. They follow us throughout our day. And this is one that I can't wait to hear more about. Yes. As all of this moves forward, especially considering that original cinematic that they launched back in, 2014, that they announced Overwatch in the first place?
With the kids?
Yeah, with the kids. That, when I finished watching that, when I started watching that, actually, I was like, did they team up with Pixar? And then when it was over, I was blown away by how many feels I had. It was that gif from Spirited Away. I just too many feels. Like, I think they have a fantastic story building team.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely incredible, and I think we're
Did any of you read? Oh, sorry, I was gonna say, did any of you read the Warcraft comics back in 2007-ish?
I did.
With Walt Simonson, who was the writer. I have like good associations with Blizzard comics based on that. It was just at the right time in my life, so I fully look forward to the additional media for Overwatch.
Sure, absolutely.
In general, too, I think that the games industry, especially in the West, does a really or has a history of being a really shitty, multi-pronged marketing sort of strategy. That came out bad.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't take advantage of their IP, really, and even in dealing with Japanese companies like Nintendo, not wanting to bring over a lot of the stuff that people buy in Japan. That's why so many people went fucking bananas over the Villager amiibo, because it was literally the only Animal Crossing merchandise you could buy in the West. And so people want stuff. They want to participate in more than just the game. They love these characters and they want to know more. And for some reason, hasn't been a whole lot of that. So anything that
Japanese games are different, though. Japanese games are different with there's always some copyright issues, and they're very insular in terms of their base versus exporting. So I think
sure,
Nintendo's
there's the technicalities of that. Right. But I mean, even Western companies, Blizzard does a great job of merchandising.
It's always a winner here for us because we're in the West. Yeah.
it's a completely different thing. So, make all the things, please, for your games. If you have cool characters, people will buy your shit. Make plushies for everything. Plushies, more of them. I want like t-shirts. Just make them. People will buy them. And do different stuff with stories, right? Comics are a completely different medium for telling a story than a game. You're not going to get the same kind of thing. And I'm surprised like League of Legends doesn't do more of this. Like they have the one-off cinematics, but no one's reading the character profiles and going through all that. No, like make more cinematics. People love that. So all for it.
To be fair, though, Riot is still trying to figure out what they're doing with their lore since they reset it like a couple of years ago. So I know that they're working with like a brand new writing staff and trying to figure out what they want to do with that. So we might see that explode. I'm not sure yet.
Yeah, it's good to hear.
And I'm sure that will make a big mark.
Yeah, especially with Rising Legends. I want that so bad.
Yep.
But this isn't a League of Legends podcast. But
while we're here, I was curious if you guys had any experience having played with the changes to Zenyatta.
I personally haven't yet.
No, I don't. Not really.
So
haven't.
Zenyatta is now line of sight.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Zenyatta. So I play Zenyatta. He's probably my 4th or 5th. I have to say, I mean, it makes him a little bit tougher, but for a while, Zenyatta was so passive. You would put your Harmony Orb on somebody, you would put your Discord Orb on somebody, and then you just snipe from the back lines. But now you really have to work to make sure you have an eye on the tank, or you're not going to be effective for your team.
Right, and I think it's a step in the right direction. It also has the added benefit of you can shake off an Orb of Discord now. So you were not able to do that before. So now if you wind up with an Orb of Discord, now all I'm doing, especially if I'm Lucio, I'm just running in the opposite direction, just get away from Zenyatta, and then you can shake off the Orb of Discord.
Yeah. And I mean, like, we've talked about this in the past. Mark, I don't know if you've been watching our podcast, but we've talked about a lot in the past of how Overwatch has been sort of, the meta's been dependent on supports. So, like, we had the Mercy phase, we had the Lucio phase.
Yeah.
Lucio.
Like, it's very dependent on the supports, and the supports are probably the most important part of any kind of comp. We're seeing a lot of pro teams run 2 of them. And so, something like the Zenyatta nerf, or would you call it a nerf?
No, I wouldn't call it a nerf, actually.
I would call it a nerf, because he had all the pairings that he used to have that were way stronger. He could put that orb on Genji and just send Genji behind enemy lines. Genji would live forever.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of unfair to call it a nerf when we know we're still playing in a private beta. It's still very much subject to change. I think it was a change in game design, and I think it was a very good one, a positive one. So I suppose inherently, yes, by virtue of the fact that it is strictly worse than it used to be, it's technically a nerf. But in the grand scheme of things, we're still very much in a state of flux, and I think that it was a step in the right direction for that character.
No, I completely understand. I just mean in a sense of he's not as strong as he used to be.
Correct.
Is the point of the case. So like in that case,
his ceiling hasn't moved. He can still. I mean, I think he can still hit it like 98% what he did before the quote unquote nerf.
Sure.
It just requires you to be a bit more active as a player.
Right. Well, yeah. It relegates that level of effectiveness to the most effective player. It's almost a little bit fairer.
It keeps the ceiling the same, but it heightens the skill cap or the skill requirement.
Yeah.
I think it makes positioning a little more important.
Absolutely.
But yeah, going back on the media thing. The thing that I wanted to bring up was the Warcraft movie. We just had our second trailer come out today.
Oh yeah.
And I think like the success
with my man Ragnar.
The success of the Warcraft movie is actually extremely important for Overwatch, at least in my opinion. If everyone's calling for an Overwatch animated film, if we, or any kind of just media attention, if this hits hard and people like it, Blizzard's going to be way more active with its IPs for films.
I could not agree with you more, and I really hope that it's in good hands, because you guys know, right? The guy doing it is David Bowie's son.
Yeah, it's Duncan Jones.
Yes.
Duncan Jones. Yeah, and he also did Moon.
Which was a
and
fantastic movie.
Very good movie.
phenomenal film, which, believe it or not, I had not seen until a couple of months ago. My wife showed it to me, and I mean, if I were to trust anyone with a World of Warcraft movie, who better to trust than David Bowie's son, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, not only David Bowie's son, but someone that played Warcraft, someone that understands Warcraft, and a lot of the actors and writers do as well. So it's a big deal. I think it's the perfect guy to get. Just listening to them talking on panels at BlizzCon and Comic-Con and stuff like that, it's been very reassuring. But from the trailers, for me, it seems very hit or miss. Like it's either going to be fantastic or really bad. Like I don't see any
I'm going to throw it out
here.
there. The CG looks horrible. Or at least the 3D and the CG combined.
Look
I
awesome.
am so nervous.
The orcs look awesome. Everything else does not.
Yeah, I don't know. And I get so nervous about these kind of things because are people in the marketing department going to be like connecting necessarily like Warcraft and Overwatch, you know what I mean? Because I feel like they're completely different things, you know, aesthetically, thematic, and that could be a good thing. Or it could be a bad thing, right?
Well, I think it makes a difference whether or not the success of the movie is attributed to the property or to the creative mind behind it, right? Sure. And if you're right, dude, if it does well, that does bode well for Overwatch to get like a major motion picture release, but even that is like really tough to do. And I think what it comes down to is, like you said, he plays Warcraft and so do the writers and the directors, et cetera, et cetera. If they're the ones who are allowed to make the final call, then I think that we'll be pretty happy with the compromises that get made. It's like the difference between seeing, you know, a nerd make a compromise versus, you know, the marketing guy being like, oh no, you can cut that part. And you're like, no, that's really important. So hopefully I'm hoping that we see the right compromises and that it doesn't just get chewed through the Hollywood machine.
Sure. I mean, it goes like we just saw a Hollywood example of this with Fox, right? So we had Fantastic Four come out, which was very off comic book and very Fanforstic. That Fanforstic, the greatest film ever made. We had that kind of shoved down our throats, and you know, tons of people that weren't really involved in the comics and stuff like that.
Batman.
And then we have something like Deadpool that was made by fans, made by Ryan Reynolds and you know, TJ Miller and stuff like that love Deadpool and love the character and know what it's about. And like you could see the difference of just the passion that they put in that project. But yeah.
And I do think that Blizzard has that level of
yeah,
care for their properties.
And honestly, that's what I'm not saying in the fact of the Warcraft movie has to do well for Overwatch to get made. I'm just saying it does give Blizzard a lot more confidence to move and do bigger projects with their IPs if it does well.
Yeah. That's what happened, you know, for Marvel with Iron Man, in a sense. That was the green light, you know, to keep going. So we'll see. But I agree. I don't like the CGI, and I think that the over-reliance on that form of CGI 3D effect is you know, something that we saw even, you know, whip back on us on Star Wars, because we have episode 7 where they're trying to use more real effects. So I don't know. I think they should have gone in that direction, but you know.
Could you imagine if the whole movie was practical effects? They had orc costumes.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I mean,
wonderful movie.
So
then
cool.
You're talking about going to like Game of Thrones level of budget, and like that's don't get me wrong, I would love to see that too. I just want to meet the Hollywood executive who would greenlight that picture and be like, you want to make a WoW movie? Here's like $12 million.
Imagine. There's got to be a guy who has the money. But like, they could have closed the perspective on the movie too and not made it so like sweeping, where you're seeing the eagles in every shot or something, you know what I mean? They could have made it more character study and avoided some of those pitfalls. But we haven't seen the movie yet, so it could be awesome. And maybe Overwatch's movie will be amazing because it's actually based on like more real, like tangible products and people that we could actually just cast out of, you know, your next door neighbor's house or something, practically, you know, and they could fit the part. So I actually have a lot more hope for an Overwatch movie than I would for a World of Warcraft movie.
Oh, yeah,
but I hope
with
Warcraft movie does well.
Go see it. If
I am.
You know,
it's Ragnar.
Buy the things. That's how people know that you want more. Don't pirate it. Don't yeah, just pay for it. If you don't want to go see it, don't go see it. But
I'm 100% gonna pirate it, but if I like it, then I'll pay for it afterward.
whatever you gotta do to support.
I go
right?
first. I pay for it first if I want to see it.
I 100% pirate things first. 100%.
I'm so picky with my movies that I don't want to waste money. So I
Sure.
just, if I really want to see it, I really want to see Warcraft, so I will pay for it.
Sure.
Speaking
So I'm
I
curious.
just have this idea that like the Dungeons and Dragons movie came out a
Oh,
while
God.
ago, right? And I mean, but if you
Oh.
stop, if you think about the time it came out, that CGI was really pretty good, and
was.
like it was a true to the Dungeons and Dragons canon story, and it hit all the
Way.
points, and it still only did like a little. Like I think this movie is totally going to be niche. I think all the World of
But-
Warcraft players are going to go see it.
But remember,
I'm going to throw my
It
money
was
in.
being marketed pretty hard in Korea even before I
No,
left
but
in
Rachel,
January.
remember,
So
Rachel, remember that was back then. We're now in a post Game of Thrones Song of Ice and Fire
I
world.
just don't think it's going to be that big.
I mean,
I just
I'm
think it's
saying,
just going to hit
fantasy's
the World
hot
of
right
Warcraft
now.
market.
I don't think
it might, but
I
we'll
would
see.
love to be wrong, but
I think Rachel's probably closer to right though. Like I mean it's the first step out, you know? It's the coming out party for Blizzard's properties, and if they keep doing what they're doing, they keep doing web shorts. That's the difference between WoW and what did you just mention? Dungeons and Dragons is they didn't have the ability to have a runway leading up to a movie like that. Overwatch does. They get to put out digital shorts on YouTube. Like
absolutely.
they've got way more bullets in the gun
cartridge. In the
Cham-
cartridge.
chamber?
In the chamber.
chamber.
In the chamber.
Kids and your weapon metaphors.
I don't know.
Wow,
the
it's like we play a
holes.
weapon game.
I know.
I play
There's
Diva. I
no
don't
accounting
reload.
for,
Pew pew.
there's no accounting for being an idiot though. So who do you guys want to find out more about next then? What short do you want to see next? What character do you not know enough about?
I want to see a diva. I want to see a diva.
Oh, come on.
Anime.
Everybody-
No,
A diva and an
No,
esports.
no,
I want to see an
Gotta get
esports.
reached a little bit less
want to
predictable.
see a diva animation at the WCS final in France.
I feel like I know enough about her already, though. I feel like she's pretty well, like, out
She's
there. I
fleshed
feel
out,
like I
but,
want to
wouldn't
really
you wanna
know,
see
like,
her do
someone that we don't know anything about.
like
I want to know more about May. I want to know like how
She's-
she
she's
got
stuck in
out of
ice.
cryo. I want to know how she found like I want to know what kind of science she be doing. Like I can totally see her. I can totally see her like in The Martian, like that kind of role, like with that movie. Like she's gonna science her way out of that shit. That would be amazing. And I
just
think
wanna
May's
get,
like an upcoming fan favorite too. So I think a lot of people really want to see more May.
and she's broken.
I have fallen head over heels for Zarya. Pharaoh was my first love, but Zarya, I just want to go get like Zarya. I feel like could drink me under the table. Like I just want to go out
She would.
with Zarya.
No, I would like to. She's actually one of them. I want to know more about Reinhardt and his big Lord of the Rings cosplay outfit. I want to know when he became such a big fan of Lord of the Rings and why he brings that into his everyday life.
Oh, see, I thought he was more of an Ava. Yeah.
I don't know. I
Maybe
thought
just the red one.
I'm
Depends on
seeing the
which skin.
Sauron thing going on over there or something.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things. What else? What about you, Chris? What about you, Alex?
I mean, I'd love to see like a Genji Hanzo animation, like a really action based one. That'd be great.
Sure.
Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean,
I mean-
that's exciting to me.
So we
I
have
don't-
May.
not just the animation, but like I want to know more about their relationship. Like they're brothers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to know more about like what was that like growing up.
Yeah,
You know?
right.
I feel like that was an uncomfortable, unsafe household.
Oh yeah, what's their dad like? What's that guy look like?
Exactly, dude. Like who taught
Probably a
you how
lot
to
of father
Sharif it?
issues.
Okay, so I just had an
Yeah.
idea. I just had an idea pop into my head, and I'm gonna say it, and no one's gonna interrupt me because it's awesome. What if it was a diva animation where she's going on a mission, right? She's taking out tons of dudes, doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and then it zooms into her helmet, and there's a chat on the side, and you figure out she's streaming the whole thing, and she's with her fans just kind of hanging out doing the whole thing.
It just
Too
says
meta.
grill,
like,
grill.
like wrecked, GG,
Too
like all
meta.
kinds of stuff. Like, wouldn't that be great? Because dude,
Oh
There's
my
a
God.
Blizzard.
it's part of her
Give
lore.
Do
this
it.
man a job.
Yep.
Because her lore says that she does stream her like combat missions, and it's like that would be fantastic to see that in action. That'd
I
be great,
agree. Damn.
Twitch.tv/combat.
right?
And they should
Very,
set up
very
a channel for her.
They should.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's like sounds like an MMA sort of thing for
Oh,
Twitch.
so
We just
good.
gave them all these ideas. That's all right.
It's
You
okay.
can get back to us
I'm
later.
writing these down on Trevor's.
Yeah. All right, got to call our friends.
I also want to
Um,
see more Lucio songs. If we can
Oh,
find
yeah.
on SoundCloud,
That'd be cool.
more.
I want to
Lucio
know
songs.
about his training as a singer. Not as a
One of the things that I remember, one of my favorite campaigns that I ever worked on, I used to work in marketing, and when I worked at Squarespace, we partnered with HBO, and True Blood was airing at the time, Entourage was coming back, there were a couple of things, and we partnered with them to do blogs for the characters. So like Jessica from True Blood had a blog that she would post videos to, and it was hosted on Squarespace.
Yeah.
And I would love to see something like that, like you were just saying, like Lucio uploading to SoundCloud other songs, and then based on their popularity, that one can turn into, you know, a new song that he can actually, like a new tape he can put into
Yeah.
his sound booster.
Oh,
That'd be
True
so
Blood
good.
was good for like 2 seasons. That was a great show.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. Back in the day.
Oh, so actually something we haven't touched on. We touched on it a little bit with the pop vinyl figures, but we do have a lot of statues coming out. We have the Tracer statue that's been out already. They had the prototype for the Reaper figure, or the Reaper statue at BlizzCon that people may have seen
Okay.
pictures of. And then we also have the Soldier 76 one that's coming with the collector's edition. I'm serious. If they start, and they're like 150 a piece, like if they start making one for every character, I'm gonna run out of money, man.
I
That's
will
too
not
much
buy a
money.
figure for Soldier 76 in this auto aim OPQ. No.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
supporting that shit.
Damn.
Nope.
I'm not interested in any of
All
those figures.
these flavors, and you
Nope.
choose to be
No.
salty.
And I am a figure collector. I drop hundreds occasionally on a good
Dropping the
figure.
salt.
No, I think Alex and I have
Dropping-
had this conversation before. It's really bad.
I have a whole blog post about figures and how much I love them. It's crazy. I just went nuts. And I buy all the amiibos because they're cheap, even though they look bad. I want to see Diva. I want to see lights on
Yes.
some, like, you get it lit, get it
I want to
made.
paint the figures myself. I would love to have like a
Like a model?
Because then it's like
something.
whatever
Yeah,
skin
model
you
figure.
want, or you make
Especially
your
for
own.
Diva. She's like, mech. She's awesome.
Yeah, it needs
As
to
a
have.
total aside, I mean, like, I consider digital goodies to be every bit as good as the physical goodies. So
Oh,
those
yeah.
are the ones I get more excited about. So to me, I'm just amped to see what Tracer's going to play like in Heroes when she hits Heroes.
Oh yeah, dude. So I've had my Legend Hearthstone skin, or my Legend Hearthstone back for like literally 2 years, and then I got the Overwatch backing the other day, and I was like, yeah, that's going up. Like that's
Yeah.
what I'll switch it to. That's fine. So like
How do you get the Overwatch one? I want that.
you have to pre-order the game, I think, and then it just adds to your account. It just added the other day. You
Nice.
gotta get on it, Mark.
I'm doing it right now.
Speaking of dressing your shit up in Overwatch swag, have you guys gone to gear.blizzard.com?
Yes.
Because they keep coming out like amazing clothes, and
Oh, yeah.
I found out, like, you know how if you go to each different game, all the clothes are kind of different. It's because the actual, like, the game teams design the outfits. So all, like, the awesome design that goes into the Overwatch game, those same, like, geniuses are making
That's
the most
awesome.
comfortable Reaper shirt I have ever worn, like a badass Zarya tank top. There's so much
Oh,
variety
this is
in
so
clothes.
sick, dude. I'm going to buy so many clothes.
Dude, Chris remembers at BlizzCon, like, there was, like,
Oh.
a fight over the jackets.
Yeah.
Dude,
So
I
like,
just filed my taxes too, and like for next year, I'm just gonna buy like $1,000 worth of Overwatch apparel and just write it all.
Not at all.
Dude,
You
so I
are
have-
one of those that Blizzard loves.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
the whale that they cater to. No, I have the Overwatch. I have both Overwatch shirts, both Overwatch jackets. I have the backpack. Like, it's really bad. But yeah, Rachel, it's funny when you at BlizzCon, I was working with the Hearthstone team, and so was Rachel. And our entire team had Overwatch jackets, so it didn't even look like
Yeah,
the
we look
Hearthstone
swag
stage.
as
Like, it didn't even look like the Hearthstone stage. It just looked like this Overwatch play area. Like, we were just kind of walking around.
That's so
these-
cute. I love
And
it.
that Zarya
That's
tank
awesome.
top, that's like your workout top right there.
Oh, yeah.
That is
Oh, dude,
perfect.
it makes the bubbies look fantastic, but it keeps the cutlets in. I love it.
Oh, I'm getting this for Kate, dude. You and Kate are gonna match, dude.
Dude, and then I have all of them. Like, no lie, like, I went and I paid my hard-earned money for all these shirts because I love them. But the Farah long sleeve shirt is a thing of genius. The Reinhardt is my most worn shirt. But
Nice.
also, like, they still have the Widowmaker tank top, too?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do, I
it's still up
think.
there.
Oh, yeah, the next
Oh,
page,
actually-
that one's, like, it's long enough, it covers your butt, you can wear it with leggings. They really hit everything.
Dude, the best shirt right now is the character shirt with all the logos on it, like the 21 logos on it. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Love that
Yeah, I
shirt.
like that one too. I want one for. I like the style that they're going for. I just really want. It's weird, like on an Android device or something like that. I'm big on consistency in terms of UI and UX, but for these characters, because the whole shtick is there's no classes, they're just heroes. I almost want the shirts to be even differenter, you know, because they're all the very like sort of like 2D flat look.
Yeah.
And I almost want Junkrats to be like, like I don't know, like singed sleeves and like
That'd be cute.
You know, something that's a little bit more his personality
Like a
because
grunge,
that's
Yeah.
like a grunge
Man,
punk
or-
look.
Yeah, like, give me,
Exactly.
like, a plaid, like, you know, I'll tie it around my waist, that's
You
you
want,
wear
a,
it.
you want a Junkrat
Precise.
wallet? You want a Junkrat wallet that's shaped like a tire that's put a chain on your belt?
yes, I want a Junkrat wallet chain.
That would
so
be cool. I want the BAMF belt. That's what I.
Yeah, where's the BAMF belt?
Please.
Dude, so I
Yes.
did.
Oh
I
my
did end
God.
up buying.
need that.
I did end up buying a. If you go on Etsy, there's someone that makes resin props, and they made a resin diva gun. I did buy that.
Oh.
That's good. As a new father, it's time for you to start putting your money towards the
Oh,
important
yeah,
things,
absolutely.
Chris.
I have to teach my daughter right.
Young May needs a diva gun.
She
Yeah,
does.
you're gonna dress her up as young May for a convention. I want to see that.
She is Samantha
Oh, with
May.
a little, like, a furry little...
Yes, it's gonna be.
Oh, my God, Chris, do it.
Please,
Yeah, I'll carry her
All right.
around. I'll
we
be.
expect it in
Dude,
1 year.
oh, I just got the best idea. Can I be the mech and she can be dressed as little diva?
Oh
She
my
can-
goodness, yes.
Oh,
And
Just
so I have
her
the
little head in the cockpit.
yeah. So like when I have her
Like
strapped
a
to my chest or whatever,
Hmm?
she can just sit in the cockpit. It's great.
That's brilliant, dude. She'll just feel like she's just in a stroller or like in a
I want
little
it.
baby carrier, dude.
I know. Put her
Do
in
it.
the
And then she'll
carrier.
look back on it 10 years from like ahead of time, and she'll be like, "My God,
She'll
my dad,
never play video games because of that.
yeah,
No, dude. She'll be
Dude,
great.
I would be
my
like, yeah,
dad's such a
was so cool.
nerd. God damn it."
Oh, it's gonna be
Oh,
so
man.
good. I'm excited.
So
Father,
there's a lot of stuff to look forward to. Even though we started off the call with a little bit of a testy thing that for the community, I think the community has a lot to look forward to.
no, and
Look,
honestly,
I mean,
like
I also think it's a resilient ass community, dude. I've had such a wonderful time in pickup games. I've had such a wonderful time meeting new people, and like the last time that I felt this way was Destiny.
oh yeah,
Destiny was the thing that like kept me in touch with my friends from home, and I met so many new friends on Destiny, and Overwatch is kind of taking the place on that, and that the community has been so vibrant so far is a testament to I think what they've
Sure.
cultivated.
And I think like even though it did turn into a bit of a negative thing or there's something that came across as negative, the fact that people cared enough to complain or to have a discussion about it is awesome, and like I think that passion really shows through.
Yeah, man.
I think it's also not enough people are in the beta, and a lot of people are antsy and just want to dissect something. They're just going crazy.
Oh,
So
Right.
hopefully, when the game gets fully released, these things won't happen again, and we're just going to enjoy and be in this idyllic paradise. Everyone
They'll be
just
more
pew
concerned with
pewing
the
each
actual
other.
mechanics.
Exactly. I can't wait for that day where we're just talking hard data, and we'll
Yep.
pull out Rachel's spreadsheet, and we'll just.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, guys, if you are getting into Overwatch and you're watching this from way in the future, you should check out our other videos that we do. We break down all the characters of Overwatch and for the roles that they fit in. We did great shows for that.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
were really cool.
Yeah, we have a great backlog of
100%.
information.
And I think we all stream Overwatch too, right?
We do.
So there's that too.
Yeah. Should we go stream some Overwatch now?
We should.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Kate. I was like, I don't know how late we're gonna go, but like, if we just start streaming Overwatch now, I don't know if that's. I don't know. I might. I was like, I don't know.
It
Okay,
is
so-
always good to like occasionally not fanboy over everything too, because then we can be critical about the game as well. I'll just throw that in there,
Sure.
Yeah,
as
dude.
or else we don't want to seem
I mean,
like
I
we're not
did not enjoy the Pharah Mercy meta. That was not fun.
No, that was horrible.
Yeah.
Just like flying everywhere, and no one would win or lose, and it would just go on for hours. And I'm just
Ugh.
like, I have to go now. Sorry.
I had
Sorry,
to pee
guys.
20
You have
minutes
to
ago.
have-
I gotta
yeah.
go.
You have to have the equivalent of lifting your CC in Overwatch, so sorry.
Yeah.
You need a
has to
quick
be an
silver
option.
stash in Overwatch. But yeah, guys. So we're pretty much closing up here. Anyone want to, shout out anything they're working on, anything like that? Shout out your streams.
Go ahead, Mark. You're our guest.
Oh shit, I am the guest, but and then hold on. Oh jeez, my computer just
Curse words.
Okay, sorry, swearings. No, I like I said, I do videos over at Android Police, focused on phones, but I also do stuff on my own channel, which I have been lax about because work has been taking up most of my time, and I also stream twitch.tv/theburstmode, and that's about it. That's what I've been working on. Pretty easy.
That's awesome. Anyone else? Everyone's pretty much connected.
Collegiate Star League playoffs. Check them out. See starleague.com. And DreamHack. I hope to see some of you guys at DreamHack, where our finals are going to be. Yeah. All right. Awesome. We're gonna play some Overtalk in the backstage area somewhere.
There's an open beta
Play some
weekend for
Overwatch.
everyone during DreamHack weekend.
It
Oh,
is.
even better.
And remember, guys,
no
DreamHack-
one's gonna be watching anything.
So most people in America haven't been to a DreamHack, but
I can't wait.
DreamHack is a BYOC event where you can bring your own computer, and I'm guaranteeing you there will be an Overwatch tournament there, whether it's community based or not.
Can't wait.
Speaking of
6 through
Overwatch
7.
tournaments, I'm going to be casting a tournament this Friday. So if you want to come and point and laugh at me, it's going to be on the Overwatch Regional Clash stream, which is some convolution of letters. Let me find that for you. But more importantly, I'll probably host it on my channel and see you guys there. But it's going to be interesting, so stop by.
Absolutely,
Awesome.
and also Joshua Lee will be on there, who was usually on this show, but he's going to be there as well.
Sweet.
But yes, thank you for coming to watch. Thank you, Mark, for being on the show this week, and I do apologize again for last week.
Hey, don't you ever apologize for having a child again, okay? I don't want to hear that again.
but
So
yeah, guys,
selfish, Chris.
thanks for showing up, and we'll talk to you guys next week when we talked about the monthly meta for the month of March. But
Very
see you guys later.
excited. Hope to see
Bye,
you guys
guys.
again soon.